by the military-industrial complex.
Welcome to your MSC. I am delighted to be here and to have a conversation with the former U.S. Secretary of State under Bill Clinton, Madeline Albright. And Madeline Albright was actually the first female Secretary of State in the U.S. And it is a pleasure to have you here. It's an honor to have a conversation with you.
And it is a pleasure to have you here. It's an honor to have a conversation with you.
We have heard that 500,000 children have died. I mean, that's more children than died in Hiroshima. And you know, is the price worth it?
I think this is a very hard choice, but we think the price is worth it.
Well, I'm delighted to be interviewed by you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So you have very limited time. I want to get right to it. And the first question is about the U.S. and the way that we are now perceived, considering a pretty significant shift in leadership. Trump has been a pretty divisive figure. He has antagonized our longstanding allies. And so as an American, how do you feel we are perceived today?
Well, I do an awful lot of traveling around, and I'm not just an American, but a former diplomat, and sensitive to how we are viewed. And I think we are viewed in a way that we have isolated ourselves, that we are frankly absent from a lot of the things that need to happen. And
we have heard that
therefore,
500,000 children have
is
died.
not waiting for
You know,
us
is the price worth
try
it?
to sort
I
out
think
who
this
we
is a
are,
very
because
hard
they're
choice,
going ahead
but the price,
trying to
we
deal
think
with
the
a
price
variety
is
of
worth
issues
it.
that are out there that are making our societies very complicated. So kind of absent without leave.
You know, Trump's isolationist ideology has really resonated with many Americans. And I'm curious as to what you think about it. Why do you think that people want America to look out for itself? Why do you think Trump's base wants to abandon some of our longstanding allies? What's really the influence behind all that?
Well, it's something I've really been trying to understand. And part of it is
The price,
that
we think
we do
the
have
price is
issues
worth
at
it.
home that are divisions in our society. There has been an awful lot of emphasis on loss of job to, quote, foreigners. And then I think, frankly, a president who makes it worse by talking about the threats that are coming and then that we're victims. And I think if people have some source of unhappiness, then if somebody inspires them in some way to say they're victims, it just makes it worse. Because I don't think that Americans deep down are isolationists. I know we don't want to be the policemen of the world. But I do think that most Americans understand the value of really some kind of relationships with other countries, and that it's good for U.S. national interests, frankly, to be involved with other countries.
Good for U.S. national interests, frankly, to be involved with other countries.
Some would argue that U.S. foreign policy in the past, including invading countries like Iraq, has led to the type of ideology that we're seeing in Trump's base. Individuals who feel that we have meddled in too many conflicts abroad. What would you say to them?
Just remember, there's a special place in hell for women who don't help each other.
Well, I think it's hard to generalize. I do think that Iraq specifically is one of the issues. I personally, when we went into Afghanistan, one could understand that because that was after 9/11, and that's where the murderers had been placed. Iraq, for me, was a war of choice.
Iraq's military threat to its neighbors is greatly diminished. Most of its missiles have been destroyed. Nuclear materials have been removed, and an international monitoring regime to prevent the construction of nuclear weapons is in place. Despite Iraq's present weakness, the future threat has not been erased. Iraq's behavior and intentions must change before our policies can change. Otherwise, we will allow the scorpion that bit us once to bite us again.
And I do think that that has alienated a lot of people and made them wonder about what we're doing. And so there is reason for feeling that way, but I'm not sure that just generally people will say, well, we never want to be involved in another country or help those that are subjected to ethnic cleansing or misjustices.
Secretary Albright, it's a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for being here. And I want to encourage all of you to also take part in this conversation by commenting in the comment section below or using the hashtag YourMSC on all social media platforms to share your comments, your questions, your concerns. Thank you so much for watching.